to say that you don't know and you'll get back to them.
Right.
It shows more credibility that you're not just, you know, BSing your way
Right.
through the process.
Right.
And these days, in any salespeople are given a bad rep
Yeah.
because unfortunately a lot of them don't invest in themselves. They don't train and they go in with dollar figures in their eyes,
Yeah.
and they're like, don't see you as a person, I see you as a paycheck.
As a yes.
And they go in and say, listen, do this, do this, do this, and the other person has dealt with people like that before, and they're not happy with
Yeah.
them. They will try to exit the conversation as soon as possible. And earlier on in my career,
Yeah.
as an insurance broker, when I would go to people and I saw like with dollar figures in my eye, I
Yeah.
never closed a sale.
Right.
I never closed it because, and when I would go back to my mentor and I would tell him this, that look, this is the conversation I had with them. I told them this is the policy they should go with this way. And after I tell him my whole scenario about why I told him I was right, he turned around and asked me this. He's like, did you tell them or did you ask them? And I said, well, I told him. He's like, no, that's your problem.
Yeah.
He's like, you didn't ask the questions, or you didn't ask them what's important to them. Because if that person would have asked you, you know, is this important to you, or
Yeah.
did you need this in coverage for life? I don't know much about life
Right.
insurance. You might have gone, well, no, okay, if this doesn't cover it, maybe this is the one. Maybe this is
Right.
the one, and you would have been able to make a better decision
Yeah,
off that.
absolutely. And it's so true. And you know what? Sales has a bad rap, and I remember when I was just getting into sales in the sense of selling my own business and my
Right.
own services, I had that icky feeling. And what I realized, it was because I was coming from that wrong place of trying to push my agenda.
Yeah.
But as soon as you shift from it being, I mean, I love sales. Why
Yeah.
wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You're serving a lot of people. You're making money. Everybody's
Or
happy.
helping people.
And when it's done right, it's just a beautiful thing. It's just when you sit with that person and you mutually connect. And this is why, again, you will naturally open up around different things.
Yes.
You'll open up about your kids and how last week
Yes.
was. You might say today was horrible and laugh and chuckle about it, and tomorrow you're going to do something. So you're going to share yourself. You're going to share your story. There are going to be quirks that you talk about,
Yes.
and there are going to be things that come up. So you got to be willing to just go anywhere, really,
Be a
with
person.
that, right,
And
with
to,
them.
and to go off. I had, you know, to go off script.
Yeah.
I had a friend who
Oh yeah.
was in the process. He got a new job as a outbound sales guy.
Mhm.
He was given a script.
Mhm.
He was told just follow the script, and it was if the person says yes, ask
Oh
them
my
this.
God.
If the person says no, ask them all these questions. You know, it was like a
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
flow,
Those like a
flow
map,
charts
a
or whatever.
flow chart. Yeah. Oh
And
Lord.
if yes, no, yes, no. And
Yeah.
he asked me, he's like, how should I approach this scenario?
Yeah.
And I said, well, don't approach it. Just ask him
Yeah.
what's important to
Yeah.
the guy.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, no, I can't do that. I can't ask them the question
Oh.
because if I ask them a question off the script, I get
Who
dinged again
knows?
in my phone calls or whatever the
Oh,
case is.
yeah,
Now,
yeah.
he ended up to moved on to better things. But
Wow.
there are companies who designed this. I know it's an aid when you're really nervous on
Yeah,
the phone.
yeah.
It's good for the first little bit to kind of just help you
Yeah, to have a
To
sense of a
talk.
structure.
to
Yeah.
help you talk. But
Yeah.
that I'm completely against the yes no yes no yes maybe go back to yes.
Right.
So,
It's truly funny, and yeah, the scripts are good to a point. You know, they give you structure on to where you're going, and you have to be willing to
diverge.
diverge, go into the unknown, be, again, vulnerable, not knowing, what the outcome is, but as long as the intention is, how can I serve this person?
Yes.
How can this be a win-win
Right.
relationship?
Right.
And again, always win-win, because sometimes we bend over backwards, especially if you are making your own prices
Right.
as a service professional. We'll cut and slash and give discounts. It has
We'll
to
do
always
this, we'll
be
do that, right.
It has to be a win-win situation. If someone's disrespecting your time and canceling over and over again, well, you might want to move on, right?
Yeah.
So as long as there's a win-win situation happening, truly it's just a space, an open space to see what you guys can both create.
Right.
And that ends up with happy customers. That ends up with them referring you, sharing your posts, people mentioning, oh, but do you know this particular
Yeah.
amazing service professional,
Yeah.
and the word gets out.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if a service professional is reaching out to you,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't want you to give away the whole shebang, but tell people what is something that you'd first tell them. How would you, excuse me, what would you tell them, or how would you tell them to get their story out?
Right. So, first, I would want to know what their goal is and what their intention is. Some service professionals are ready to get into some sort of speaking
Mm.
or something that can raise their credibility or authority in the industry. They might have, done very well with referrals and working with their, getting those, and they want to take their credibility to the next level.
Right.
My suggestion is definitely you're going to want to be doing online and offline strategies
Okay.
that are going to create that credibility for you. So there are a couple things that do that. One is definitely speaking.
Okay.
That could be public speaking on stage live,
Okay.
or it could be speaking on a podcast or
Okay.
video in social media. There's just something about media and stage that automatically makes you look like the expert.
Makes you look
it's
credible.
It's a human trait.
Right.
If you're elevated in some way, that's what it does. The other thing is writing. Again, it could be offline or online. It could be in trade articles, newsletters.
Okay.
Again, offline or online. It could be blogging. Those are two ways of starting to elevate your brand. And again, every service professional should be seeing themselves as a brand, a personal brand.
Great point.
And so that's something that might be new for some people wrapping
Right,
there,
right.
but you are a brand. And then the other part is advertising, which you don't really need to do much of that, but there are really some cool things that you could do, especially with social media ads.
Okay.
If you have a business page, you could retarget those people that have been following you on your page.
Okay.
Maybe they've already visited your website and they clicked to book an appointment, but they didn't follow through.
Okay.
You can retarget those specific people. And it really doesn't cost anything, probably like 20 cents a person. There are a lot of cool things that you could do.
Facebook gives a lot of
Oh my goodness.
a lot of ways to target, and it's not just like
Yeah.
people who like dogs. It's like you can spouses of people who love dogs and whatever. It like goes into so much detail.
Right.
It's insane.
It's insane. And my suggestion is, if you're going to do any of that type of target people that you've already created relationships with.
Okay.
It's pretty expensive to get leads, cold leads from social media.
Yeah.
I always suggest that service professionals use social media in tandem with live relationships. So
Okay.
you should have saw them at a networking event. You should have had a phone call with them.
Wow.
You should have had a coffee date in tandem with your social media is just it's a way of nurturing your relationships. And it's a great way of getting referrals. So what I mean, a great thing, what I see with clients is they will get cold leads, but they're not necessarily cold. It's because of the relationships with the other people in social media. People are liking and commenting and pointing and saying, yes, this person, and therefore that generates a cold. It's kind of warm. It's still warm in a sense.
Yeah. Okay.
So that would be my suggestion, based off of other than the direct outreach, like just doing cold calling or door-to-door referrals and networking. We know those are tried and true.
Right.
And for some people, they want more influence. They want more reach.
It definitely helps. Using it from personal experience.
Yeah.
Is that getting yourself out there online is just as important these days to be a person, because oftentimes when you search, if you're in a store looking at buying a TV, computer, whatever the case might be, and you have trouble deciding, what's the first thing you're going to end up doing? It's going to pull out your phone and do a quick Google search and go, let's see what the reviews are.
Yep.
And if it's anything less than 4 stars, you will read the reviews and see what went wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's when you're doing it with the product. Guess what? These days, even myself, if I'm looking at going to hire a professional for any specific reason, lawyer, accountant, whatever it is, I'm gonna search them online.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna see what's their rating on it. I'm seeing if they have a Facebook page.
Yeah.
If there are people complaining on that page, how many stars, how many thumbs, likes, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's extremely important.
Yeah.
These days to have an online presence
It
as well.
is. As a matter of fact, on that note, there are clients that come to me now that because they might have a successful, thriving business with clients, but because when they get referrals, the people referred to them will check them out,
Right.
check out their website,
Yeah.
and then be like, well, they don't even have a website, or they don't even have
It's
nothing.
hesitance.
Yeah, so it's like, well, so it's still important to have all pieces of your marketing strategy together. Yes, do great things offline, but nowadays you have to have some online presence.
Yes.
You look irrelevant.
At least I firmly believe you should have a nice looking, simple website.
Yeah.
It should be professionally done, simple website about what your services are, whether it's a product or service. I highly think it's important. I spoke with James Hurt a couple days ago, and his tip was the first thing you do is have a very professionally done business card.
Yeah.
That's the first thing they'll touch and feel when you hand it to them. That's the thing they'll see after they meet with you and the meeting's over. They'll look at their card, and it's true. I never noticed it. I remember I still have one card, which was such a thick business card that it stuck out from all the other cards I had. And I would look at it and go, wow, this guy actually cares about his card, his presence. It was such a nice card. It was thick. It was like cardboard almost.
Yeah.
I respected it. And it stuck out. And every time I remember the name.
You want to keep it. It doesn't get tossed and turned around.
It never got tossed. I used it as a coaster at some points.
Yeah.
But it did what it needed to do.
Yeah.
So now you've provided so much information here, and I want to thank you for that. And I'm sure the audience is going to have some questions for you as well.
Mm-hmm.
What's the best way for them to reach out to you?
So what they can do is go to ChereneFrancis.com or any social media tag at Cherene Francis, and you can connect with me there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So guys, reach out to her for any of your branding, marketing questions or inquiries, or if you even if you have any sort of just like what if scenarios, shoot it out to her. She's an amazing resource. She's obviously experienced, and like I said, she's dealing with businesses. She's a television host as well, so she knows a bit of marketing. Obviously her shows get growing, and it's speaking about your last thing, you're wrapping up season 2, I believe, and moving on to season 3 for the future.
So right now we're still in production of season 2. Season 3 is definitely going to happen. Season 2 airs April 2018, so it's going to be exciting, and it's actually geared towards service professionals, business owners that want to share their story, get vulnerable, and share how and why they do what they do. And from there, people are able to connect with them and know more about how they can serve them.
I'm still saying season 1's the best because I was on it.
Of course. You got to put a clip on. You got to share a clip with them. That's on was awesome, actually. So you're actually still on my website as one of the poster boys.
Am I?
Yeah.
Sweet.
He's a poster boy on my website.
Awesome.
So,
All right, guys. Take care, and we'll talk soon.
Awesome. Bye.
Bye, guys. Before I wrap up, I just wanted to say I really appreciate your time. Would love it if you could subscribe and share this podcast, and also check us out at theinsurers.ca.